We continue strong with another former UN ambassador. He is John Bolton, of course, United States National Security Advisor with the Trump administration, a critic of President Trump, and Ambassador Bolton joins us this morning. Ambassador Bolton, you wrote an essay in the FT a year or so ago, What Happened to the Party of Your Ronald Reagan? Is Nikki Haley the last Ronald Reagan acolyte standing?
Well, she's the last one still running for the presidential nomination, but I think the party at its roots is still Reaganite. I think Trump is an aberration. Obviously, he's been able to capture a significant part of the party, but I think that one day he will pass, hopefully without doing too much more damage, and we can get back to where we should be. His comments about NATO and allowing Russia to attack countries not spending enough on their defense really ought to be a wake-up call.
Yeah, our Paul Sweeney emailed me this weekend, and he said, get Stavridis. And, of course, to get James Stavridis, the Supreme Commander of NATO, would be lovely. We don't have him today, folks, but we do have John Bolton. What are the ramifications to Europe, to Alex Stubb winning that election in Finland? What's the ramifications to Europe if we get a Trump foreign policy?
Well, it would be disastrous. It would be disastrous for the United States, but it would be worse for Europe. The Europeans can talk about an EU-style defense all they want. Really, they're going to be led by Germany and France. Good luck with that. The problem is in the United States, for too long, political leaders have failed to make the case that we're in alliances like NATO and bilateral alliances with Japan and South Korea around the world, not out as an act of charity. We're just not being nice to the Europeans by being in NATO. We're protecting vital American interests. We're protecting European interests, too, but we're doing it for ourselves primarily. And the Europeans have not done what they should have done in terms of their own defense expenditures. Maybe this will be a further wake-up call to increase, but nobody should operate under any illusions here. Trump is not trying to strengthen NATO. Trump is beginning the case, if he's elected, why he's going to withdraw from NATO.
And Ambassador Bolton, obviously front lines there in today's news is just, Ukraine, Russia. What is your latest thinking on how this is developing here and continues to develop in, I guess, the second year?
Well, I think Putin, taking advantage of his conversation with Tucker Carlson, made it plain he's ready to negotiate. And I've been worried about that for a long time. I think Biden wants to put the wars that are going on now behind him for purposes of the November election. He's in deep, deep trouble. And stopping the war in Ukraine, I think he will see to his political advantage, unfortunately. And there are plenty of countries in Europe that would like to turn the page on Russia's invasion in 2022 and before that in 2014 and go back to business as usual. So I think Putin is playing to a weakness in the Western alliance here transatlantically to get a ceasefire.
John Bolton, just because of time here, I have to turn to the Eastern Mediterranean. And over the weekend, the entire zeitgeist to me of Democrats, of those uncommitted, of Republicans, has been whither Netanyahu. Do we intrude on domestic Israeli politics, or is that something distant and remote that the Israelis have to solve?
Well, look, I agree with Netanyahu's view that he should be allowed to pursue the objective of destroying Hamas. He calls it total victory. And in World War II, Franklin Roosevelt set the terms for Germany and Japan to end World War II as unconditional surrender. Given the October 7 attack, why isn't Israel entitled to do that? I tell you, if Biden breaks with Netanyahu, he can kiss the 2024 election goodbye.
So, to what end, Ambassador, do you think that Netanyahu and the Israeli objectives, which a lot of folks feel like, I'm not even sure how you even measure whether they're achieved. How can you destroy a terrorist organization? From your perspective, what would you recommend to Mr. Netanyahu?
Well, how did we destroy Nazism in Germany? We killed an awful lot of Nazis. You're not going to kill every one. And it's true, you don't kill the idea, but if enough of its adherents are killed, and the Israelis claim they've destroyed 8 out of the 12 Hamas fighting battalions, you can go a long way toward that goal.
But I think, John Bolton, this is so important. There's a huge body of Americans, including Democrats, who do not agree that we should support Mr. Netanyahu. Given that American domestic tension, how do we prosecute a foreign policy in the Eastern Mediterranean?
By having leaders who can articulate the reasons why it's of an American interest that these terrorists be defeated. This is not an Israeli war against Hamas. This is not an Arab-Israeli war. This is an Iranian war against Israel through its terrorist proxies. They are aiming to destroy the little Satan Israel. They're aiming to gain hegemony in the Middle East as a whole over the their Sunni Arab adversaries. And ultimately, their sights are on the great Satan, and we're sitting in it.
John, thank you. Ambassador Bolton.